Okay, so it is 1:30, so I'm gonna get started here, and we'll jump right in. So good afternoon. Welcome to the fourth webinar in the Technology Services webinar series. My name is Andrew Nierenhausen, and I'm joined today by my colleague Laura Peters from Library Development Services. This webinar is being recorded, so if you want to watch it again or share it with staff, you are able to do that. A link will also be sent out to you after the webinar has ended. And with that, there will be a very brief survey about the webinar, and it would be really helpful for us if you are able to answer just a few questions that are there about how we did today. Also, feel free to ask questions as we go along, but I will answer those questions or any other questions that come up at the end of the webinar. So today, we are moving away from websites for a little bit, and instead we're going to be talking about the TRACpac mobile app. So I want to talk about both the features of the app as well as how your users will interact with it. And we'll also briefly cover a bit of information about some new promotional materials, and we'll talk about that a little bit at the end. So let's jump in and take a look at the app. Okay, sorry, I just got to move my webinar bar around here a little bit. So I have the app set up in an emulator today. Actually, I'm just gonna stop my video there real quick. So I'm actually using the app on my laptop right now, but it looks more or less the same as it would on any other mobile device. There's a few things that are a bit different from what you might see, and a few things that I can't really do with the app on a computer, but I will point that stuff out as we go along. So the main reason that I'm doing it this way is so that we can move through the app in real time, and you don't just have to look at some screenshots or a pre-recorded video or something like that. So the first thing that if you're following along on your mobile device, the first thing that you might see that is a little bit different is I have 4 menu options on my screen here. And you might see 3, you might have more, you might have the rest of them showing up. And this is just a matter of screen size. So if you're using a tablet like an iPad or something, you might see a different set of icons listed out here, but that's not unusual. So I'm going to cover pretty much everything in the app, but with 2 notable exceptions. So I won't be talking about click and collect, or also called curbside pickup sometimes, or the self-service and self-checkout function. And this is because our next webinar is going to focus on those 2 topics exclusively. So for now, we'll walk through some of the other features of the app. And we'll just start at the top here and work our way down through everything that shows up on the app. So if you're not logged in, you're going to see the track icon at the top of the screen. And you will have access to a bit less information, resources, and app functions. It doesn't change drastically. Mainly, I bring this up because new users to the app are going to see this first. First time they open up the app, they're not going to be logged in. So if your patrons are contacting you and asking why they can't find certain functions, this might be why. One of the differences that users will see when they're not logged in is in the record sets features. So if we see here, there's only the fiction bestsellers showing up right now. There should actually be 2 other ones that show up that are track generic. Oh, there they go. But we actually have a lot more under YRL. So when you're logged in with a YRL card, you'll see those record sets as well. And if users try and take any actions, place holds, they will be prompted to log in at that time. So pretty much anything a user does will prompt them to log in. So they should figure that out pretty quickly. So let's log in. Take a moment here to log in with our test account. And this test account belonging to one Bernie Madoff, as we will see going through here. So now you can see at the top, we have the YRL icon at the top of the screen that lets you know that you're logged in with the YRL account. Below this icon, we have the search bar here, where you can do a simple keyword search. And this is going to give you the same results that you would see if you were searching in the in TRACpac on a web browser. And down at the bottom of the screen, we can see how many results there were for our search. And if we click along the bottom here or to the left side of the screen, we can set up some limiters. I'm going to limit this to books, and we're going to look for title fields, and we'll sort by most popular. So we'll apply the filters. And we can see down here at the bottom that our results have decreased quite a bit. We went from about 12,000 results to about 1,900. And the books are also listed in order of popularity. So clicking on an item, we can get a bit more information. Of course, we have a nice big button here at the top to place holds on an item. And again, if we're not logged in, this will ask us to log in when we try and place a hold. If there is a summary or description on the item record, that'll show up here. This one doesn't have one, so there isn't a description here. And all of the blue links that we see here are actually clickable links, same as in TRACpac. So if we take a look at this series, this is going to bring up all of the items that are listed as being in this series. And the same goes for searching by subjects and searching by author. If we scroll down, we can see how many copies are available and which libraries have the items and what the status of the items are. So this is probably the function that most users are going to be using most commonly, is just searching for items and placing holds. We'll head back. Sorry, you got to keep moving my webinar bar around here because it keeps getting in the way for me. Okay, so back to the home page. We follow along the right side of the screen here. I'm going to open up this menu. And when you click on that, we see our patron account information. So here you're going to find checkouts, holds, fines, and a few other preference options. But I'm going to start with linked accounts, and you'll see why as we go along. So linked accounts are for those users in Polaris who, those users in the TRACpac app who have logged in with a second account. And usually this is a family member, but not always. And this allows you to see the activity of the other card. So this is great for parents, as you can have a parent is the main account, logs into the app, and then they log in their children or dependents, and then all of that activity can be maintained by the one account. So if we take a look at linked accounts here, once again, my webinar bar is blocking this for me. So at the top right of the screen here, you can add new accounts, and you would just log in with your barcode and PIN like normal. You can see that currently we have Ted Danson is our linked account here. So we'll see Ted Danson's activity as we move through the app as well. And here, if you click on them, you can remove them as a linked account. So starting with checkouts, We can look at the items that are currently checked out. So at the top here, we're going to see the main account. This is our Bernie Madoff account. And below, we see the items of Ted Danson. So we can see the activity of both accounts. If you click on an item, you have the option to renew the item. You can also click View Item to view that item record. And then there's also checkout history for the account if it's enabled, and that is a Polaris setting. I think patrons can also make that change in TRACpac on the browser. I don't think they can change that setting in the app, but if they have checkout history enabled, you can click that to see what they've checked out. At the top here, we also have the option to renew all, or we can select and then renew selected. And after checkouts, we have holds. So here we can see all of our existing holds. We can look at the items on hold, and similarly, we can bring up the item record. We can also choose to suspend and resume or cancel the hold from here. You can also choose to change the pickup location. If you're going to be at another municipality in the region for some reason, or maybe you just sent it to the wrong place and you want to change that, you can do that in the app. And you can see, similarly, you can select which holds to do this to and which actions to do, or you can make actions to all holds. And we can also see for our linked account that Ted Danson currently has no holds. Then we have fines. And you can see we have a little bit of a preview here. We have it for all of these actually, but the fines gives you the dollar value of fines. And if we click on this, we see Bernie Madoff has a bunch of fines and some notes attached to some of these fines. So currently, there's no way for users to make these payments through the app. This is just a place for users to see what kind of fines they have and why they have them, just in case maybe they lose access to e-resources and they're wondering why that's the case. They can take a look here and see if it's if they've got a bunch of fines on their account. So if your library already offers the self-service function, then in here, you might see an option for self-service receipts. If you don't, or if you haven't used this function, then you're not going to see, and I haven't used it on this account, so it's not showing up here. But again, I will be talking more about the self-service function in our next webinar. So stay tuned for that. And then below this, we have the devices section. So this shows which other devices have logged in to the app on your account and have access to your account. So if you have a shared family account, you might have several devices listed here where users are logged in. Or if you've lost your phone and you want to make sure that nobody has access to your library card or your information, you can choose to deauthorize the device and the app will be logged out. Oh, I muted myself there. If you click on the device, you can choose to deauthorize the device and that'll just log them out. Similarly, if we choose to sign out, you can choose to sign out of this device only, or all devices that are currently logged into the app. So we've looked at linked accounts. We also have preferences here. Preferences mainly just lets you adjust the way things are displayed visually on the app. So you can move around the icon order and change the layout a little bit. This reload button just restarts the app. It'll close and restart the app. And we also have language options. So that is the main account section here. Our next main section is going to be these record sets. So at first glance, you're just going to see the bestseller fiction record set because this one is pinned to the front page of the app. So this record set is updated roughly every 2 weeks, and you might also recognize this as one of the record sets that displays on the TRACpac website. But if we select more, and they all load in, you can see that there are a bunch of curated record sets here. So some of these record sets are also shared on the TRACpac site, like nonfiction and children and juvenile. But the rest are genre-based record sets that we update specifically for the app. Try to do these fairly regularly, monthly if possible. And they just provide some more options for somebody browsing around the app. So you can swipe through these. You can see that there's more in each of these record sets. If you think that there is a category that your users would like to see that's not displayed here, if there's a genre that you think your users read, let me know or let us know at wsfl@yrl.ab.ca, and we can set up more record sets to go in here just to improve the browsability of this for your users. I think this is actually my favorite part of the app. I'm often the one who's updating these record sets, but I still come here and look around when I'm trying to figure out something to read. There's just, there's a lot of stuff in here. So I think it's a great resource. And moving down to the icons in the lower part of the screen. So the first of these icons that we have is for scanning ISBN barcodes. This is a really cool feature that I would love to see more people taking advantage of. So what this allows you to do is to pick any book, if you're at a bookstore or at your, friend's house and they've got something on the coffee table, and just scan the UPC barcode on the back of the book. And by UPC, I mean the checkout sale barcode on the back of the book. This barcode also contains ISBN information. And when you scan it, it will search TRACpac to see if we have any of those items in track. So in practice, when you're out in the wild and you come across a book that looks really interesting to you, you just give the barcode a quick scan and you can place a hold on any copies that are in track. So I'm going to click on this right now, and you should get my webcam here. I might look a little squished to you. I was going to do a little demonstration where I scanned a book and we looked for some records, but it doesn't work very well from my laptop computer, but it works great on a mobile device. So if you have your phone and you've got a book nearby, I'd say give it a try, scan the UPC and see if anything comes up. And below this, we have the nearest libraries section. So if you, on your mobile device, if you allow the app to access your GPS location, this is going to tell you what the closest library to you is. Also, it's going to tell you what the library hours are, what their address is, how to contact them. If you don't have GPS enabled, all of that information is still going to be there. It's just not going to be ordered by distance. It'll be alphabetical like you see here. Yeah, so you can see the hours here, address. View on map and get directions will open up whatever your preferred map app is on your phone. And then we also have phone number, a link to the website, and a contact email address. If you're using the app and you notice that the information for your library is incorrect, again, let me know or contact wsfl@yrl.ab.ca, and we can update that for you. If you change your own hours of operation on your website, the app will not be updated. And actually, neither will Polaris. So when you make changes to your hours or your location, it's good to give us a shout so we can make sure that all of this information is consistent across all of your library software and programs. Also, in the Yellowhead region, we just have a lot of patrons that wander between libraries. Maybe they live in an area that's sort of in the middle of two libraries, and then maybe they commute to a third municipality for work. So I think this is a useful tool for people who are traveling around the region and just need to know, when libraries are open. Next icon we have is My Account, and this just opens up that menu again. It's just another access point for the menu that we have up here. And then we have ebooks and audiobooks. So these are just links to our e-resource websites. So if your patrons aren't already using these services, then this will send them to a browser where they can access the resources or else download the mobile app. If they're already using these e-resources, then they probably just want to use the app instead. If you have Cloud Library on your phone, you probably don't want to open the TRACpac app, come to this section, open up the Cloud Library browser page. You'd probably just use the Cloud Library app, but this is an access point that helps to let your patrons know what kind of things we offer. And actually, if we click on one of these, this is going to open up a browser window on our mobile device. And this is Cloud Library. And the first thing that Cloud Library does is ask us if we want to download the mobile app. So they'll be prompted to do that if they use this feature. And so this section is specifically focused on ebooks and e-audiobooks, which is the most commonly used e-resources that our patrons are looking for. But our next section, we scroll over, is e-resources. And so this is just all of the e-resources that your library provides. So this is the same list of e-resources that show up on your website. And the same thing, if we click on any of these, it's going to open a browser window. And this is the same thing that would happen if you use the e-resource on your library's website. And then the next icon here is Explore More. So these are links to other library lending services that are outside of TRAC. So Sela and NELS are both listed in the e-resources section as well that we just looked at, but they're here again. And these are resources for users with print disabilities. They provide a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of free resources and sharing. So this is just another way to make them more accessible for your users. We also have Alberta Relay and Me Libraries here. And these are just other ways for your patrons to borrow from libraries in Alberta that are outside of the TRAC system. And once again, these are just links to open up the browser page. And so the last icon that we have here is the self-service icon. So we aren't going to cover this today because the self-service function is going to be the main topic of our next webinar. So if you're interested in self-service and self-checkout or click and collect and curbside service, and doing that through the TRACpac app, then keep an eye out for our next webinar where we will cover all the interesting circulation functions of the app. And just so you know, you might not see this self-service icon on your app if your library hasn't already opted into using the service. So if you don't see this on your device, no need to worry. And the very final feature that we have in the app is the My Barcode button at the bottom of the screen. And when you click this, it will display your name and your barcode and your barcode number. This is just a quick way to bring up your barcode if you left your card at home or if you forgot your barcode number. And actually, you can see here, because we have a linked account, we can scroll down and we have the Ted Danson card information as well. So as some of you might have figured out just now, on mobile devices, when you press this button, it will increase the brightness on your screen. And this makes it easier for scanners to scan the barcode off of a screen. So you can use this on a self-check machine or have library staff scan the phone directly. And yeah, these are the features of the TRACpac app, excluding those features that we'll be covering in our webinar next month. So I also wanted to talk briefly about promotional materials for the TRACpac app. I've heard from libraries that they would be interested in these documents. So we've got some documents recently from the app developer, and I'm going to show you how to access those. So you can find these on the YRL intranet. And if you don't have access to the intranet yet, you can contact us at wsfl@yrl.ab.ca or the Ask YRL email, and we can get you access here. And so when you're on the YRL intranet page, we're going to scroll down here, and what we're looking for is the track page. So under Polaris and track, and under track. And you can see here in a resources section that we have a link to promotional materials. We also actually have a link to the, this is TRACpac app information on the YRL website. And here you have links to download the app for Android or for iOS. There's also a brief video about the app that's taking everything that I'm saying and doing it in about 3 minutes. And then some more information about the other circulation services, again, that we will cover next time. So we'll take a look at the promotional materials here. So this is just a folder containing a couple different types of promotional material. We have a bookmark, a vertical banner, and a poster. There's also some brief instructions on how to use each of these resources. So we'll open up the poster here. And so these materials have a bunch of editable fields. So you can download these, and then you can update your library name, your library website, any of the information that you want. I've already updated the QR codes. So if you scan these QR codes, this will bring you to a landing page that has links to both the Android App Store and the iOS App Store, so users can download the app for themselves. Also, while we're looking at this, one quick tip for replacing your logo here, instead of deleting this and pasting something else in, you can just right-click here, change picture, and look up a picture from this device, and that'll take, if you have your logo on your computer, you can just sub that in, and it will just replace this placeholder. Yeah, so these are they're pretty simple materials, but I think they're visually appealing, and they're pretty easy to use. But if you wanted to create your own promotional materials, we also have the QR code is saved in here. So you can add this to any materials that you are working on as well. And just as a side note, actually, while I'm here, you can easily create QR codes for free if you want to advertise your website or maybe some software or programming. If you just Google QR code generator, you just paste in the link and you can generate yourself a free QR code image, and you can use that anywhere. I just thought I'd mention it while we're here. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about today is app requirements. So this shouldn't really be a concern. Since the app's been out, which is at least over a year now. I haven't heard any patron complaints about this, but I know that there are some users in the region who have older devices. So the requirements for the app are listed on both respective app stores, but the Android requires version 4.4 and up. And so that was released in 2013. So even older devices than that should be able to run 4.4. The Apple version requires iOS 11 and up, which was released in 2017. So still devices older than that should still be able to run it, but it's possible that there are some users who have mobile devices that can't update to iOS 11 and therefore wouldn't be able to use the app. But definitely not a common thing. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. And so that's the TRACpac app. Some promotional materials that you might use, and a little bit about QR codes. So are there any questions that have come up in the chat?
Not so far, Andrew.
No? Well, that's good too.
You must have covered everything very thoroughly.
Okay, well, we'll give people a minute just in case any questions come up.
And again, if you do have any questions, you can always reach out to either the WSFL@yrl.ab.ca address that I've placed in the chat, as well as the Ask YRL email address, and we will get back to you. And alternatively, there is going to be a link of this recording sent out to all that registered, whether you were in attendance or not for the live event. And I will do that as soon as it's uploaded to YouTube, probably by the end of tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I didn't write down, which I should have written down, is the date for our next webinar. Although that'll be going out in the newsletter, so you'll definitely hear about that before it happens. But it's going to be about a month from today. It's the third Thursday in May.
I actually added it to the chat, Andrew.
Perfect.
Including the Zoom registration link.
Awesome.
So if you have not registered for it already and you are interested in TRACpac app beyond browsing, just click on the link in the chat or copy and paste it and register away.
Awesome. Well, so it doesn't look like there's any more questions coming in.
It's pretty quiet.
Yeah. So I guess we can say thank you to everyone for dropping by, and we will catch you next time.